श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान जय, श्री हरि कृष्ण महाराज जय, सर्वे संतों की जय. This is the second recording on Shikshapatri. During the last recording, we had explored the basic distinction between following the Shikshapatri versus abiding in the Shikshapatri. This distinction is a very interesting distinction and needs to be looked at in more detail. I'm assuming that some of you who heard the first talk about this may be somewhat questioning or confused about why I said do not follow the Shikshapatri. It wasn't meant in that way. It should not be misunderstood. Of course the Shikshapatri should be followed. That is not the point. The point is that the following of the Agnya should never be broken, because the mind is always trying to find some way, because of its old vasanas and desires, to find a way out of the specific niyams Bhagwan Swaminarayan has given in the Shikshapatri. Mind is very tricky, mind is very subtle. In fact, in the Shikshapatri itself, Shlok number 9, Swaminarayan Bhagwan has said in the Gujarati translation, I'm saying it here in Gujarati, અને તે સદાચારનું ઉલ્લંઘન કરીને જે મનુષ્ય પોતાના મનમાં આવે તેમ વર્તે છે તે તો કુબુદ્ધિવાળા છે અને આ લોક ને પરલોકને વિશે નિશ્ચય મોટા કષ્ટને જ પામે છે, નિશ્ચય મોટા કષ્ટને જ પામે છે. You see, this is a statement in Gujarati. This is Shlok number 9 in the Shikshapatri out of the 212 shloks, and he's making it very clear here that the transgression of the sadacharનું ઉલ્લંઘન કરીને જે મનુષ્ય પોતાના મનમાં આવે તેમ વર્તે છે. This is the problem, because the mind is going to bring about the old desires, vasanas, thoughts, memories of past enjoyments, past experiences, or it will imagine those things that it has not experienced, and will try to go after that and violate the boundary that Bhagwan Swaminarayan has placed. This is a major problem. This problem is real. Doesn't matter what somebody shows from outside. What is happening inside is a different matter in most people's case. Shriji Maharaj himself had said in Vachanamrut, Manas upparni prakrutithi nathi olkhato. That's very clear. He may act in a very humble way and not look at women if he is attached to women or all that. He may show that he's not attached to sexual desire, or woman may show she's not attached to man in sexual way, but the attachment is there. Desires are there. This is just in terms of sexuality, but this is true with so many other things. So whatever the person may be showing from outside, that doesn't mean that they are like that necessarily inside. See, even Nishkulanand Swami has stated that Veshti lesh na levai. It's a very powerful statement written by one of the greatest Paramahansas of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, Nishkulanand Swami, who has written so many scriptures, 23 or so scriptures, including Bhakta Chintamani and others. And he has said, Veshti lesh na levai. You cannot judge a book by its cover. You cannot judge a person by any external appearance or external garb or external markings or external behavior. You see? It's very difficult. In fact, to judge someone itself is difficult, and why judge anybody? That's another question altogether. It's a different topic. But the fact is that we were talking about during the first discussion that we had about the distinction between following Shikshapatri versus abiding naturally inside the Agnya without the factor of psychological time or psychological fragmentation, without any kind of disturbance occurring. Because that is the real goal, and again, we're using the word goal, but it's not a finite goal, it's not a limited goal, it's a lifelong state. See, I want to go into this a little bit more to make it clear. If it can be clear, it's not an easy thing to grasp or understand, and it's even more difficult to remain in that because it seems difficult. Actually, it is not difficult. Actually, it is just a question of clear understanding, realizing the mahima of the enlightened state which an enlightened saint will be emanating, and wanting that, wanting to remain in that. That's all really it's a matter of. It isn't anything more than that. But what is important, of course, is to recognize the nature of the problem. The nature of the problem is that when niyams are taken, just let's go step by step and let's go into it slowly. Let's say a person who has not been in satsang in their whole life now enters into the satsang, into particularly our Swaminarayan satsang. Once they enter into Swaminarayan satsang, one of the first things that is given is the kanthi with the shlok that Acharya Maharaj may give, or some sadhu may give, enlightened saint might give. However it's done, the kanthi is given, tilak chandlo is given for a man, and then for a woman, just the chandlo is given, or chandlo is, she used to do that, but not tilak. There's some specific reasons behind that, and this is where this journey begins. The puja is given, murtis are given in the puja, Swaminarayan mantra is given, etc. All these basic processes continue this way. Now what happens is that the individual who has come new into the satsang, that individual needs to certainly follow the Shikshapatri, but not follow it with the sense that this is some limited aspect, some limited time period, because the mind is always fascinated with coming to an end point. Mind always is trying to come to an end point. It is trying to achieve something. Always. So a person might say, well, okay, I'm taking these niyams, I'm becoming satsangi now. The individual listens to sadhus, saints, other people, katha varta. They listen to so many pravachan after pravachan, katha after katha by very knowledgeable sadhus within the sampradaya. And they're convinced, I should follow this, I should do this, which is great. You should be convinced. Why not? That's fine. But the problem occurs after some time where the mind says, okay, now I'm going to achieve this. Okay, they may have achieved for some period of time, but then the pressure of the past vasana comes, past desires come, and that pressure becomes so much that it forces the individual to break out somewhere out of the 212 agnyas. See, this is the basic problem, you see, and that is the distinction between following the Shikshapatri versus remaining in the Shikshapatri so that Shikshapatri is naturally followed. Maybe that is a better way of saying it. Because it should not be a following that says, I am following Shikshapatri. Not, the I should not be there. There should be no I, because that I has within it the past memories, the past vasanas, the past desires, the past pressures, as well as all kinds of thinking process that is going on, that is occurring due to ichcha, due to desire, and all of that is going on inside the I. So when we say I am going to follow Shikshapatri, I am following Shikshapatri, that I should not be there at all. If that I shows its head, at some point it will break the devotee completely, and that something will be broken somewhere. Somehow it will be broken, maybe disrespecting parents, maybe using a foul word, maybe not doing daily puja, maybe not doing ekadashi, maybe not following the proper fasts if you are a sadhu, or maybe some break in ashtang brahmacharya if you're a sadhu. It will break. It has been broken time and time and time again. If you are listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. And you know that inside. Even I know from inside what I'm talking about. This is not about pointing a finger at anybody, because I am looking at myself. Each person has to look at themselves and see why this is happening. Because if it is happening, then there's a problem. If it's not happening, well, congratulations, you've got it made. But that's the fact. So if it is happening, then one has to be very, very careful in their examination as to why the agnya is being broken. You see, because it's very easy to say, just follow the niyams and just remain in that. Okay, we can say that. But what do you do about the pressure of the past vasanas? See, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has given the definition of vasana in Garada Pratham 11 Vachanamrut, 11. He said very clearly, Purve je vishay bhogvya hoy, dithya hoy, samblya hoy, જે અંતકરણ વિશે ઈચ્છા વર્તે એ વિષયોની એને વાસના કહીએ. It's not exactly the quotation, but it's something similar to this. કે પૂર્વે જે વિષય ભોગવ્યા, સાંભળ્યા, દીઠા હોય, એની જે અંતકરણ વિશે ઈચ્છા વર્તે એને વાસના કહીએ. Right? So that is a definition. He has described, the description of vasana is given in that way. And then he also has explained that the things that you have not enjoyed, but you want to enjoy, that is also part of vasana. Now, what do you do about this? What can be done about this? You see? That's the question. And remaining with this question, remaining with the problem is important. There are so many answers that are given, and we will get into that, some of that today and also in other recordings. But the fact is, let's try to understand the problem clearly. Because unless we understand the problem, unless we can see the nature of the problem, unless we can see the dimensions of the problem, a solution will be impossible. There will be no solution, because we will come to a quick solution and the mind will say, oh, okay, Maharaj has given this solution, I accept the solution, and then it ends right there. You accept it, but you cannot live in the solution. You, or not you, but just an individual. Individual accepts it and says that, oh yeah, Shriji Maharaj said do these 4, 5, 6, 7 things, or Guru has said do 4, 5, 6, 7 things. So you said, okay, I accept it, and then I'm trying to do, but even in trying to do, there's a problem because the past pressure is still there. So how do you deal with that past pressure? You see, this question is important. Examining this question means examining the nature of your own desire, one's own desire. If I'm asking this question, if Sachin is asking this question, Sachin has to see where his desires are, where they're coming from, why they're coming, how strong they are, what is happening inside the inner space. All of that has to be looked at very, very brutally and honestly, without bias, without running away or escape, and without fear also. Because if there is fear, if there is escape, if there is running away, if there is some internal manipulation going on, then these agnyas cannot be maintained. Or they will be maintained, maybe physically they will be maintained, but internally the burning desire is there. Swaminarayan Bhagwan used the term tikhi vasana. In one of the Vachanamruts, one of the Vachanamruts, I don't remember the number right now, but we'll cover that topic some other time. But the fact is that tikhi vasana means powerful, intense, very, very potent desire is still there within an individual, specifically a sadhu. That's what Maharaj is talking about. Ke vasna valo sadhu and nirvasni gruhastha. The sadhu is actually following everything perfectly outside. You know, maybe getting a lot of praise for following everything, and he does not violate anything. So externally there is no violation of any of the niyams. The indriyas are controlled and all of that thing is there. But internally, there is burning desire. There's burning desire to enjoy the particular type of enjoyment the person is looking for. This is an unfortunate fact. Most people don't like to talk about it. Probably in most satsangs, nobody has talked about this in that much detail. In the Jahir Sabha, you know, like in terms of with the regular Ravi Sabha and all that, nobody talks about these things. That's why Sachin is talking about that, because it has to be talked about. You know, someone has to open this topic because this topic is killing so many people. This is the problem. And this problem is very serious. It is extremely serious. You see, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has written in Dharmamrut what these problems are all about. I don't want to get into that right now. Dharmamrut is a specific teaching for the sadhus. Just like Shikshapatri is there for sadhus and the whole satsang samaj, Dharmamrut is specifically for sadhus. And Maharaj has even covered topics such as masturbation and homosexuality and some other topics like that. Just imagine Shriji Maharaj covering those topics at that time in the Dharmamrut. Isn't that interesting? And Maharaj is showing the nature of the mind, the nature of desire itself. Because unless the nature, structure, function, dimensions, depth, the quality, quantity, all of that of desire, the movement of desire, the process of desire, if that is not absolutely seen completely with pure awareness, there is no hope for solving this problem. Absolutely none. Because unless you are clear about the problem, unless the individual is clear about the problem, how can there be a solution? Think about that. Let's say, for example, some mathematics student is trying to solve an equation. But if that student does not understand the equation or makes even the smallest mistake in the very first step and might be knowing 99% of everything else, the final answer is going to be wrong. And this is the situation of so many people. Now, you might be wondering, why is Sachin talking about this, or how does he know? It's not that I know that that is the case. It is the fact. Because otherwise, if it was not the fact, most of the people in satsang or spiritual path would already be in Brahmasthiti. But if this problem is solved, Brahmasthiti is one step away. Brahmasthiti is not something that is going to happen millions of lifetimes from now. It can happen right now. It can be absolutely right now if this problem of vasana is solved. But this problem of vasana cannot be solved by the mind. It cannot be solved by increasing vasanas. It cannot be solved by suppression, and it cannot be solved just by niyam dharma. Niyam dharma is fine. It is absolutely required. But just following niyams doesn't solve the problem. Vachanamrut is the proof in that. Shriji Maharaj ke sadhu che, badduj pade che, varsho sudhi, maybe for whole lifetime. But antarma tikhi vasna. That means niyam did not solve that. Just following niyam. Niyam gives the opportunity to see how deep the vasanas are. This is my opinion. And if you don't agree with that, I want to hear from you. This is a discussion, a dialogue. This is not a pravachan or something like that, where Sachin knows more than somebody else. I want to explore these topics. That's why I'm sharing them with you. And I want to hear from you. And I want to learn from you. You see, so this is the point. See, there's a shloka in the Bhagavad Gita, Karm indriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharaha sa uchyate. Beautiful, beautiful verse. Very, very similar to what Nishkuran Swami said, ki tyagane take vairagya vina kariye koti upayaji. Same thing is there. You say, because tyag means letting something go. But vairagya means not having the desire for it. Not having the longing for it. Not having the constant thought for it. And the emotional attachment for it. That is Vairagya, real original Vairagya. Garada Prathamnu Biju Vachanamrut does discuss this in a lot of depth. But again, we won't get into that. What that Maharaj is talking about Vairagya, that's another topic in more detail. But the fact is that original Vairagya is required. Original Vairagya means that from inside, the profound, ingrained, very, very deep desires inside the Karan Sharir, the causal body, that thing has dissolved. Now, of course, Vachanamrut explains how this can be dissolved. But again, it talks about the fact to remain inside Ekantik Sthiti. It talks about, Shriji Maharaj said, Ekantik Sant Pase Jao, Emna Vachan Thi, Bhagwan Na Dhyan Thi, Abadi Vasna Bali Jache. He's showing the processes. There are processes, which we will not talk about right now. There are many, many processes. But there is something even greater than all the processes, and that is the Swarup. Bhagwan Swaminarayan has talked about his Swarup mostly. And the process is there when you have not got the Swarup 100%. Then the process is just a natural thing. Just Maharaj ni Agna che, so process occurs. But not process then doesn't occur to get somewhere. Because where you're trying to get, you are already there. That's what Garada Madhya 13 Vachanamrut, Madhyanu Teruvu, the entire teaching is this. That Bhagwan nu je Swarup je dekha hai che, Pratyek Swaminarayan Bhagwan, Sriji Maharaj, એ જેવું છે એવું ઓળખામાં આવે ત્યારે કોઈ આ કામ ક્રોધ લોભ મોહ મત્સર કોઈ દોષ રહેતા જ નથી. They immediately go away. There's no time involved in that. That's the whole point. This timeless state that we are exploring together is explained by Sriji Maharaj in Garada Madhya 13. In Garada Madhya 13, the word Nishta is not used anywhere in that Vachanamrut. Otherwise in Vachanamrut, everywhere Nishta is used. Because those who were listening to that Vachanamrut at that time, they already had Nishta. They had everything. They were at the end of their sadhana. The only thing that was remaining, if it was remaining, and that is to recognize Bhagwan who is in front of them. As he is, in the real sense, And once that recognition, which is not a function of the intellect only, but it is a full recognition, complete recognition through the senses, through the intellect, through the man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, in every way, full recognition that this is Bhagwan. And then in that recognition, there is the non-forgetfulness of that murti. That murti can never be forgotten. God can never be forgotten. It's impossible to forget. In fact, the state that Shriji Maharaj is saying, कि सर्व साधना अंत ने पाम्या छे. Sadhana has ended when Swarup is there. There's no sadhana. The Swarup is right in front. The sadhana that is done is to please Bhagwan. It is not to reach somewhere, because sadhana cannot take one outside of Maya. Sarva sadhan shushupti ma leen thai jai chhe. It's very clear. Sadhan goes back into shushupti. Shushupti means into that non-active state. And but sadhana is necessary to understand that the way the mind works, and some other reasons which we will talk about later on sometime. Sadhana is necessary. But the fact is, when Bhagwan himself is in front of you, where is the issue of sadhana? Sadhana is ended at that point. Now the only thing is to recognize the murti, to hold the murti without psychological time, without any past interference, without anything from the past coming to contaminate the absorption inside the murti. This is the thing to really, really go into, because these things that Sachin is sharing here with all of you, and I'm hoping that you will share your thoughts and your vision of this with me, so that we can grow together. Because this is a process of growing together. Nobody has all the answers, but these questions are important, and recognizing how to unravel this sadhana, recognizing how to unravel this vasana is critical, because that is the thing that has to be burned away. The asad vasana, the desires, the potency of them, once that is transformed, that is changed from inside, then there is nothing but pure joy and happiness in life. There is a constant freedom. It is called Jivan Mukti. It is called Jivan Mukti. That is where we want to head to. But again, the fact is to abide in the Agnya, not to have that sense that I am following the Agnya. I'm just using these words in a little different way, and I hope you will be able to, I hope you will at least see or try to see what I'm talking about. Because the I is always trying to overpower itself, or it is trying to get somewhere as a goal, and then it tangles the mind. The mind becomes tangled in its own confusion, because it thinks that by doing all these processes that Maharaj has shown, that I'm going to get somewhere. The processes Shriji Maharaj has shown is to simply turn the function of the Indriyas towards God. But that turning towards God is really the ending of the aham. That's the purpose of the turning of the Indriyas and Antakaran. Indriyas and Antakaran can be turned by sadhana towards Bhagwan. But that turning is also just the turning of the vritti, of the direction of the vritti, of thoughts. That is not the transcendence of vritti. See if you can see the distinction there. You can change the direction of your thinking, or a person can change the direction of his or her thinking, direction of emotions by bhajan, kirtan, mantra, mala. So many sadhanas are there. Navda bhakti, all of that. You can change the direction, but you cannot go beyond thought. Going beyond thought is not possible for the Jivatma by his sadhana. That occurs by Bhagwan himself. Bhagwan himself takes one outside of vasanas and desires. The only thing that God is looking for is to see how deeply you want to come out of his maya. He's just looking that much. He's just looking to see. He's looking at the devotee. The devotee is doing all kinds of practices, but Bhagwan is just watching. Oh, I'm seeing, Shriji Maharaj is seeing where the bhakta is moving along in his spiritual path, and how deeply he wants to come out of Maya. Because when a person has profound depth of desire to come out of Maya, which is what we call Shuddha Mumukshutva, pure desire for liberation, once that is 100% there, without even any contamination of any kind, then in that situation, Shikshapatri is followed naturally. Vachanamrita is followed naturally. Everything occurs naturally. In that situation, when that proper beginning point is there, Bhagwan's Krupa occurs. That is the benediction. That is the grace. That is Krupa. That is the opening of the spiritual dimension. That is the actual contact with God beyond belief, as we have been talking in all of these recordings. Belief is there, Nishtha is there, it's okay, it's fine. Nishtha is certainly there, it's okay. But there's more than Nishtha, and more than Nishtha is the direct contact with God. Because everybody is trapped in Nishtha. It's okay, but I'm not saying you should not have Nishtha, or you should break Nishtha, no. But beyond Nishtha, meaning faith, cultivated faith, is the actual contact. You see, the actual contact is Brahmasthiti, is the thing. It is Satchidanand. It is the actual thing. And when you are in it, you are in it. That's it. There's no speech there. There's no talking even about that. You cannot talk about it. Let's say a person has never gone inside the beach on an ocean. Let's say you have a beautiful ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. There's so many thousands of beaches all over the place. And you've never gone inside. You've never even put a toe inside there. You see? So the people who are having Nishtha, but not Anubhav, they're on the beach, but not in the water. But those people who have Anubhav are in the water. That's the difference. Those people who have Nishtha are just one step away from the water. This is the big difference. So that's why Bhagwan Swaminarayan in Madhya 13, in my opinion, and if I'm wrong, please let me know, because this is just a sharing, but in my opinion, or in Sachin's opinion, that Maharaj has not used the word Nishtha in Madhya 13 anywhere. He has used it everywhere else, but not in Garada Madhya 13 when he's talking about his Swarup, because his Swarup is that ocean. It's the entering into the Brahmasthiti, and that's what he talks about. Ati Ramaniya Panchvishwaya Topanema Saman Bhavche, all that thing is there, which I don't want to go too much into here. But the fact is that entering into the Swarup is like the individual standing on the beach, just jumping into the ocean. Then where is the issue of faith in the ocean? Where is the issue of conceptualizing about the ocean? Where is the issue about discussing about the ocean? Where is there any issue of how the ocean feels like? Because you might have 1,000 people standing on the beach who have never gone into the ocean, who have never put a toe inside that water, and they're all debating with each other about what that ocean is like. And they're writing books about it, and they're giving lectures about it, and they're discussing with each other, and they're developing organizations around each other with all kinds of different leaders in that organization, leaders on that beach. Just imagine if they're building tents and all that, or they're building buildings on the beach, all about the ocean, but not a single person has gone in the ocean. This is the situation of most of the quote spiritual people on this planet. They have not gone into the ocean of God. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudram apaha pravishanti advat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kame. Bhagavad Gita shlok. I don't want to translate it right now, but maybe some other time. Going into the ocean is all that is important. Otherwise you might have 1,000 buildings, 1,000 different schools about the ocean and this and all conceptual stuff. What it is like and what is the composition and this and that and million ideas about it because they have read from somebody else what it looks like. All second-hand type of information when nobody has gone even on the edge to put their foot inside the ocean. But they're standing on the beach, or they're inside a building on the beach which has no windows. They are inside the building, debating with each other endlessly about what the ocean is like? Is that not Agnan? See, that is why Nishta has its place. That Nishta means that ocean is there. Person is convinced ocean is there. You see? But you might be convinced, so what? I mean, what's next? You see, person is convinced ocean is there. Person is sure ocean is there. Person is debating, discussing, thinking day and night about the ocean. That thinking day and night is the sadhana. That has to stop also. You have to go into the ocean. Going into the ocean is not a function of thought. It is just a function of one thought only that says, Mare Hari Bhajan ma revu chhe. I want to remain inside bhajan. See, Eka naam Shrijinu levu chhe. There's some bhajan like this, It is just remaining inside the murti. Never coming out. That coming out of the murti is the ego. Going inside the ocean is what? It is the dissolving of the ego. It is the turning over of the ego. It's very simple. A small child who may be 5 or 6 years old, who has read nothing of the scriptures, who knows nothing of the scriptures, who is standing on the ocean. I'm giving the analogy of the ocean again. And without listening to anybody of those 1,000 people about their debates and their endless chattering about the ocean, just decides to go inside and enjoy. That is what all can do. Everyone can do it. It is so simple. It is extraordinarily simple. If somebody was to say, is God realization difficult? It is absolutely not difficult. Not when Bhagwan is in front of us. That's why Maharaj came. Maharaj, Swaminarayan Bhagwan, who is Parabrahma himself, came in human form and says, I'm here, I'm right in front of you. That's what Maharaj is saying. I'm sitting in front of you, but you're not seeing me. Or what you're seeing is through your filters, through your blocks. Remove all of that. Put all that stuff aside. Just think about it this way. If those 1,000 people are debating each other constantly for day and night, they have to stop that ridiculous debate and go inside the ocean. That debate is not going to take you anywhere. No amount of that shastrarth, in that olden time, Maharaj's time, so much shastrarth, this discussion and debates all the time were going on. It's okay. To some extent it is okay. If it helps you to go into the ocean, okay. But then just to be fascinated by the ocean and by the conceptualization of the ocean, to be fascinated by that is complete ignorance. That's a mental fascination. To be fascinated about God and then to derive more energy and fascination about it and then to talk to others and others and others about it without having the slightest anubhav of God is the most deluded state. That is an agnan state. There is nothing other than that. But a person cannot see that. You see, the people are fascinated. So many preachers are there. So many people doing katha varta on every scripture. If you turn on this TV, this Asta channel and other channels and all that, so many people are talking about God. And they may have realized it. I'm not saying they have not. Endless number of people are talking. Even Sachin is talking something here. True, no question. So endless number of people are talking. But what is the point after all? Where are we going after all? You see, we are stuck in debates, stuck in analysis, stuck in processes that are not taking us where we want to go. The process of analysis, the process of just doing some repetitions inside the mind doesn't take one into the ocean. You have to make a set of direction, walk into the ocean and jump into the ocean. That's it. How much process that requires? You see? So that's the thing. Otherwise, people are constantly repeating. They might have whole Shikshapatri memorized, whole Vachanamrut memorized, so many bhajans memorized, everything memorized. That is great. That is fascination, which is wonderful. That is also contact with God. It is not that it is not. It is. But there is a contact, an original contact beyond all that. Beyond all the verbalization of it. Beyond mental activity. See, in Vachanamrut, Swaminarayan Bhagwan has explained this incredibly. He said कि बद्धा विचार नो त्याग કેવી રીતે થાય કે એવો એક વિચાર કરવો જેને કરીને બીજા બધા વિચારનો ત્યાગ થાય અને પછી એ જે એક વિચાર છે એનો પણ ત્યાગ કરવો. Like that, like you're trying to remove a thorn with another thorn and then you throw both thorns away. Like that. So, and then Sriji Maharaj said કે એ જે છેલ્લો જે વિચાર છે એનો ત્યાગ થાય એટલે બ્રહ્મરૂપ રહેવાય, એટલે એ સ્થિતિ બ્રહ્મ સ્થિતિ છે. Meaning what? That is a state beyond thought. Vachanamrut says this clearly. I'll have to look up the reference. We'll talk about that some other time in much more depth. But the fact is that all thought has to be ended at some point. Even the thought of God. Thought of God ends when Anubhav begins. Until then, thought of God must continue. It has to continue. Because the thinking process, it must remain in Navda Bhakti and Bhajan, Kirtan, Katha, Varta, Manan, Chintan, Seva, Shravan, Manan, Nididhya, Saksh. All of that. That is, mind has to remain there. But at some point, a point comes, and this is a matter of God's Krupa, Bhagwanni Krupa. This cannot be explained by me or anybody else. It is unexplainable, in fact. A point comes when all thoughts of God also stop. And God himself is there. That's the difference. See, it's like those people on the ocean who are debating and discussing. They may be talking great about the ocean, how nice it is, this and that, and endlessly talking about it. Okay, wonderful. But a point comes when they stop talking and silently enter into the ocean. That is the thing. To silently enter into the Swarup of Maharaj. That is Yoga Sadhana. I mean, that is the end of Yoga Sadhana. That is that Pratilom and all that Gopalan Swami has talked about in his Vato. To sit quietly and enter into the Swarup of Maharaj and then simply see him everywhere. Because once you're in the ocean, where is the ocean not? The ocean is everywhere around you. You are in it. Anywhere you look, you are in the ocean. Anywhere you can swim in the ocean, you can jump in the ocean, you can go underneath the ocean, you can go on top of the ocean, you can play inside there, and you can go on the waves on the ocean, but it is just the ocean. And that is the beauty, that Bhagwan is Sakar, Bhagwan has form, Bhagwan is not some just some light or something like that. It's much, much, much more than what we can even understand. And Bhagwan is there. He's there. Why should God be difficult to realize? It is not that God is difficult to realize. We have placed our own difficulties and barriers and pushed God out of our mind. That is the real fact. Bhagwan is right with us constantly. But our own aham, our ego, our desires, and all this mess that is there, and the endless debates about God, all of that also is all a big block. It is a massive block, and that block has to be removed. Because when there is love, prem bhakti, prem lakshana bhakti, pure bhakti, then in that bhakti meaning absolute love, non-directional love is bhakti. Directional love, although we say love, but that it is not pleasure, it is not love, it is pleasure. Directional love is pleasure, and that is asakti. But non-directional love is bhakti. It is the 10th bhakti, prem lakshana bhakti. And we want to start there and remain there and end there. So then you're outside of psychological time. If we start with prem lakshana bhakti, we say that, hey Bhagwan, I just love you and I want to remain in that love. Only you are there. That's it. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha na pranashyati. Only you are there. And I love you. And you are everything. And you are all that is there. Then where is the issue of raga and dvesha or any problems of any kind? Then everything can be handled easily. Because we're starting with prem lakshana bhakti, and in starting with prem lakshana bhakti, the navda bhakti that comes after the navda bhakti happens naturally. See, usually most people think of this in the opposite way. Most people think, most sadhaks or many sadhus even talk about it this way, who are doing katha and those who are explaining this, that start with navda bhakti, then you will eventually someday in the future get into prem lakshana bhakti. Well, maybe. I'm not saying no to that. It certainly could be that way. But why go through that long, ridiculous process? It's unnecessary. When you can start with Prem Lakshana Bhakti right now. What is the reason for delaying Prem Lakshana Bhakti? Because once you get into process, that process is years and years long and endless, and in so many lifetimes go by. Maharaj has talked about that too. That's why he wants to stop that process. He doesn't want to take the Jivatma into million lifetimes and then finally realize God. When Bhagwan himself is there in the form of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, where's the issue of any process? He's right there. It's a question of absorbing inside the Murti. That is the divinity of the Akshardham right here on earth. કે જે અક્ષરધામ ની જે દિવ્યતા જે છે, જે ધામની દિવ્યતા છે, એ જ અહીંયા છે. એવું જ્યારે સમજાય ત્યારે મોક્ષમાં કંઈ બાકી છે જ નહીં. So there's nothing remaining even at that point. So when Shriji Maharaj is talking about his Swarup, just to remain inside Prem Lakshana Bhakti, start with Prem Lakshana Bhakti, not end with Prem Lakshana Bhakti. But this is difficult to understand, I'm sure. Because somebody who is new in satsang, or even for their many years, they may be in the satsang, generally the feeling is, let me, go step by step. Let me follow the niyams first, and then slowly turn my mind all over to God. You can do all that. But in doing all of that process, the problem of vasana remains. And that vasana keeps pulling the person back. And the person is stuck in circular sadhana, in cyclical sadhana, in repetitive sadhana, because a person then is trying to worship God, but the vasana, the asad vasana pulls him away, and then he gets frustrated with that after enjoying that thing, and then tries again to realize God, and then is not able to realize Bhagavan because there's deficiency, so he pulls back again. You see, Garada Madhya 23 talks about this in terms of him and luknu vachanamruche. It's a very interesting thing. Again, different topic for a different time. But this is also discussed there, that the mind that is not pulled apart by likes and dislikes, by enjoyments and non-enjoyments. Because if you don't get what you want, that's the unhappiness part. If you get what you're looking for, then you enjoy what your ego gets fulfillment. But in both situations, you are outside the spiritual path. The spiritual path is right between the two. That's what Garada Madhya 23 clearly explains. Absolutely clearly, Shriji Maharaj has explained this thing. Himane luknu vachanamrut. So when we are remaining inside Maharaj, we are starting with that state કે આ ભક્ત જે છે એ પરમ ભાગવત સંત છે. Sant is not by clothes. વેશથી લેશ ના લેવાય. It has nothing to do with clothes or if you're tyagi or grihastha or none of that. It has those are artificial distinctions. Sadhuta is an internal state of living, an original state of living, state of being. Param Bhagvat Sant, someone who is deeply absorbed in the Murti all the time, because there is recognition that this sansar is nothing but pain and suffering. There is no happiness in anything in this sansar. Doesn't mean that you're disliking sansar. You live with love and affection with everything, but you are seeing the limitations of the attachments that are there. So all of that is seen in one shot. That's the idea. You're able to see all of it together. And see, this is very important for children and teenagers also, or people who are in college. Can they remain with Bhagavan in such a way that they have zero stress in their life? They have zero stress in their education. They have zero stress in their marital life or in their occupational life. Zero stress is very easy. It's actually very easy. But the reason we don't have zero stress, or people don't have zero stress, is because they do not have Prem Lakshana Bhakti. Once you have Prem Lakshana Bhakti, which is without direction, there is no direction. Jya juete Ramaji biju na bhase re, bhat dekhi bhule nahi anubhava ujase re. This is Muktanand Swami has written this thing. Jya juete Ramaji. Looking into the heart of everyone, my Lord is there, Bhagavan is there, goodness is there, seeing the positive things in others, in everyone. Brahma bhutaha prasannatma na shochiti na kangshiti samaha sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So that such an individual who is prasanna, who is steady, who has equal vision, and who is very dear to the Lord, Bhagwan says, that he's pleased on him, and he blesses him. That's the thing. That the blessing comes from God right there. That is, blessing comes immediately. It's not a matter of time. People are always thinking, the devotees are thinking that later on I will find God. That is the biggest mistake anybody can make. There is no later on. It's always right now in everything we do. Becoming aware of the movements of our thoughts and energies and feelings inside. There's no later on. And so that awareness, Shriji Maharaj is showing in Shikshapatri Shlok number 9 so beautifully. He says, and I'm repeating it again, Anete Sat, Anete Sadacharnu Ulangan Karine, Je Manushya Potana Manma Ave Tem Varte Che. See, Maharaj is putting this shlok this way, this statement, so that we can be aware of the movements of our mind that are going to take us out of the Agnya of Shikshapatri, take us into Asad Vasana further. So that's why he has put this here, which is to be read regularly. Because if we read it regularly, we will become aware of the way our mind is moving. See, and that's because Sadachar is what? Sat Acharan. To live inside the Murti of Bhagwan, of course, and then to live a life which is filled with truth, which is not filled with hypocrisy or dishonesty and all of that. It is filled with real consciousness and awareness, and with lots of positive action. Sadacharnu ulangan kare. Ulangan means crossing the boundary of the Shikshapatri. That's what this word means here. The crossing of that boundary of the Shikshapatri occurs in the mind. Because that's what he said. He said, Je Manushya Potana Manma Ave Tem Varte. Gamme te Manma Ave Tem Varte. He's going to be in trouble. Because the mind is stuck in this polarity of Raga and Dvesha. It's also stuck inside likes and dislikes. I like this, but I don't like this. The Panch Vishayas, the Ramaniya Panch Vishaya, and then the Uttarta Jiva Panch Vishaya. The Panch Vishaya that is dislike, we don't like. And then the Ramaniya Panch Vishaya, the ones that we are attracted. All that polarity, that division is inside the mind constantly. So that is all implied here. And we have to become aware of that problem inside the mind, because the awareness of that problem allows us to move outside that problem. You see, awareness allows us to see the problem. Seeing the problem allows us to say, oh, this is a problem, this is a difficulty. Praying to God and becoming deeply absorbed in Bhagavan allows for that problem to dissolve naturally without forced sadhana. Because forced sadhana will create the spring-like effect, and after some time, the person will again have deeper desire. Not forced sadhana, sahaj sadhana. That is the thing. If we want to enter into that. Again, this is a matter of awareness. This is slowly going into this. Okay, so that's what Maharaj is saying. And then Maharaj says, Te to kubuddhi vada che. Kubuddhi means what? The buddhi is turned, twisted, functioning in the wrong direction. It's like, driving the car on the highway on the wrong direction. But there's a wrong way sign. That red is a wrong way sign that you see. And then you say, oh, it's okay, I want to be courageous and go inside there. It will just be a matter of few moments, few seconds or few minutes before there's a huge accident waiting to happen. Right? So that's Sriji Maharaj. Sriji Maharaj is deeply compassionate. Karuna Murti che Bhagwan and his enlightened sadhus and satsangis. Those who are truly enlightened, they have no vasanas, they have no problems of any kind, they have no deficiency of any kind. They are wishing good for everyone. They do not get into these ridiculous debates about spirituality, and then because of those debates have rag and dvesha. You may have disagreement. Disagreement is okay. I certainly think disagreements are natural in life about everything. But dislike is never okay. Just take our own sampradaya. There are some 15 or 20 branches in the sampradaya, and some people are literally fanatical about their particular group and all of this thing. It's okay to be attached to one's group, one's guru. Great. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. If you think that's right for you, okay. But then to dislike somebody else due to disagreement is completely non-spiritual. This is my thinking. I don't know what your thinking is. Some people, believe that aloko vimukh she amche temche, the vimukh people believe somebody else is like this. All this internal mess is there. And that's what it is. It's a disastrous mess that has absolutely no meaning. What has meaning is, how do we come out of all of this? How do we deal with disagreement in life? Not just in our sampradaya, in the whole world. The whole world is involved in conflicts because of disagreements. Disagreement is okay, but not dislike. The moment person dislikes somebody else, then there is dvesh bhav. When there is dvesh bhav, there is absolute dropping of spirituality. 100% spirituality is destroyed. And this is just a fact. So that's what Sriji Maharaj has said. In Vedas, kusangi hoy, avgun na levo. Whatever Sachin is speaking is not making up in his mind. I can give you reference for every single statement that is being made. It's not just reference, but if you consider yourself clearly and think about this carefully, see what conclusions you come to. Because each person has to come to their own conclusions ultimately, or you accept somebody else's conclusions. But you have to come to it carefully. Because, see, like in Vedas, Bhagavan Swaminarayan said, Kusangi hoy, avgun na leo. Meaning what? You know that person is Kusangi. He's maybe harming somebody, hurting somebody, taking drugs, stealing, doing all horrific things, let's say. Alright? There's so many people in this world like that. But Sriji Maharaj said, don't take avgun of that person. If you take avgun, that means that your heart will be contaminated by dosha. You saw dosha in somebody else, but you didn't see the Atma. You didn't see Bhagwan inside that person. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. Who wrote this shlok? Ved Vyasji wrote this shlok in the Mahabharata. He was an incarnation of God. Bhagwan Krishna has spoken this shlok. Bhagwan Krishna is Parabrahma himself. He's God himself. And this is not a joke. The Purushottam Narayan has spoken this shlok. And who are we to twist that around? That's why Sriji Maharaj is saying, even if Kusangi person is there, do not take his avgun. And Sriji Maharaj went further to say that if you take avgun, not just avgun, but if you feel, let's say for example, you don't take avgun, but you feel you are something greater than that person. Even though you might be ekantik person or near ekantik person, and you feel this person is less than me, then Sriji Maharaj says, Jesht Kanisht Vritti Ubhi thai che. The I is functioning again. That old I that we're trying to get rid of, it shows its nasty, ugly, and hateful head again. In a very sukshma way, subtle way. Aham. I am so great. I am such a great devotee. I am such a great person. That I comes again. And it creates bhedbhav with that kusangi. That person is doing wrong things for himself, but inside that person is the Atma, inside the Atma is Paramatma. Inside everyone, Parabrahman is there. See? That's the thing. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shopake cha panditaha samadarshinaha. Bhagavad Gita. Again, seeing equal vision. Seeing is always equal. It can be equal. Seeing the Lord in everyone is real vision. Doesn't mean that you have to go to the Kusangi and do what he's doing and all that thing. It's like, if you can help the person, okay. But taking avgun and then having ragdvesh and then going deeper and deeper into the ahamvritti, that's a big mistake. It is okay to disagree. Absolutely okay. This is my opinion. If somebody is smoking, Sachin is going to disagree with that act. Sachin says, this is wrong, this is harmful. Sriji Maharaj ni agnya nati. Clearly. Right? If a sadhu is breaking Ashtang Brahmacharya, with all due respect, I have to say, you're in violation. Simple as that. There's no if and but about it. No, you're in violation of Shikshapatri. It's simple as that. But avgun, no. Avgun should not be there. Bhagwan is also inside that person. Bhagwan will take care of that person, but at the same time, I may disagree. Disagreement may be there. It can be there, but never dislike. Never dislike. Okay. You can disagree, but there should always be love. There should always be prem. There should always be a feeling that may Bhagwan bless everyone. Sarva jiva hitava. And always see what is good in that person also. See, this is a very tricky thing, because if a person is having faults, how do you separate those faults from that good part? You see, that ability to separate the faults, the ability to separate the faults, F-A-U-L-T-S, the faults from those positive sadgun that are there, because everybody has some sadgun, everybody has some avgun. Every human being is a mixture of the two. The ability to not look at the avgun, but to be aware of the avgun and to highlight the sadgun and to remain focused on that sadgun with that person is a truly divine quality. That is something very incredible. If a person can do that, you can win the whole world. And if you cannot do that, if a person cannot do that, then the whole world will look horrible to you. I don't know what else to say. These are just some random thoughts, just some feelings and some thoughts about all of this. I'm sure all of you who are listening know much more than I do about this. But please, that you should bless me. If you have any thoughts about this, send me an email, sachinkarnik@yahoo.com. I would like to hear from you, because we all have to learn from each other. If we cannot learn from each other, then we will be lost. That is the basic truth. We all have to keep learning. These are just some of Sachin's thoughts over so many years. Again, we pray to Bhagwan Swaminarayan that shlok number 9, that Shriji Maharaj has written. I'll say it one more time. Anete સદાચારનું ઉલ્લંઘન કરીને જે મનુષ્ય પોતાના મનમાં આવે તેમ વર્તે છે તે તો કુબુદ્ધિવાળા છે અને આ લોક ને પરલોક ને વિશે નિશ્ચય મોટા કષ્ટને પામે છે. We didn't talk about the last part of this, alok ne parlok ne vishe. Maybe go into that in more detail some other time. We did kind of cover it indirectly, but it just basically means that there'll be a lot of trouble if we violate this. It's a very interesting topic, and it is very unfortunately true in so many people's lives. So let us pray to Maharaj that shlok number 9 be in my life, Sachin's life first. If those who are listening to this, if you are benefited by this, if you are interested in this, if this has any meaning for you, then that is wonderful. That is Bhagwan Icha. If you find anything wrong in this, if you find anything that I may have spoken that is not correct, send me an email. Write to me about it. I want to hear from you. Okay? And that's all. Sajanand Swami Maharaj Ni Jai.